Okay, so today we're going to be making songs. For chapel, when we need some kind of music, you can always do YouTube, but we want to go the more traditional route. We know the tried and true trusted words in the hymnal, so we're going to look for hymns. You can go ahead and do a Google search. You'll find that if you type in something like Best Lutheran Hymns, Google will come up with some suggestions. Apparently they know. And if you don't like their suggestions, you can check on the websites below, and they'll give you a couple ideas. Maybe something sounds familiar. Find one that you like or you like the sound of. I decided to go with When I Survey the Wondrous Cross. Now I just put that, let's see, I will delete that. Text name, I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to put the tune name in the exact same. And then I'm going to click search. It'll come up with a couple things. Tune title, that looks right. Text title looks right. First line, that looks right. They have a lot of different choices, and from experience, they're not all the correct ones, so it's going to take some trial and error. But I'm going to click on the top line. Oh, I don't want text. I want the tune. Tune title. There we go. Now what I'm looking for is this MIDI file. I'm going to click on that, and the reason I want the MIDI file, go into GarageBand, and I'll show you here. We're going to make a new project, choose, and this is 9-hymn-your name, and in parentheses we're going to put the title of your song, and create. Okay, so the reason we wanted the MIDI file is, I'm going to slide this over and just drag it straight in there, is it has multiple tracks, which is pretty sweet. In some of these it's labeled treble and bass, and so we can go in and we can change the instrument. We have grand piano, and this is how it sounds right now. Turn off your metronome, that's annoying. Try again. Alright, great, wonderful. So we're going to go in and we're going to change this. I'm going to mute each one. I can change the volume to each one. We'll just turn this one down if it will let me. We'll just mute it. We'll do headphones on this one. Okay. Do headphones on the other one, see what it sounds like. Okay, so that is your harmony, not your melody, right? That's not the line that you sing. So generally you'd probably want this one to be a little bit quieter than this one. This is melody, this is harmony. You want the melody to be louder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the harmony as my bass, and I'm going to make a slapped electric bass. See how that sounds together. Sounds a little different. And instead of grand piano, we're going to mix it up, and we're going to get a guitar in here, and maybe just a classic acoustic. And you can mess around with this. Again, down here I have the I selected, and then when I select the different track up here, it allows me to change the instrument. So it's going to play this now as though it's a classic acoustic guitar with a slapped electric bass. Now you can go all crazy and be rock concert, but this is probably not going to get you a good grade, not something we're going to use. This is what it sounds like. Okay, we have When I Surveyed the Wondrous Cross by Jimi Hendrix. We're not going to do that. Let's go with something that sounds a little bit more realistic. Some of them sound really tinny, like you can tell they're made on a computer. We want to avoid that too. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a beat, and it doesn't sound right now because it's so slow. It's not going to sound right at first, but we're going to change up the rhythm, so this is up tempo a little bit. Down here I have the thing that looks like a little loop, and that is the loops. And okay, you could actually hear that maybe being in some kind of band. Some of these absolutely, okay. probably not gonna hear the electronic drum beat 3 in a church service. So let's go back down, find something that sounds like it would actually fit, and I'm gonna go natural drum kit 3, drag it in. Okay, top right corner gives me a little curly cue, and I'm going to drag it out to go all the way to the end. Now this is just going to be one verse playing, so I'm going to click and maybe a little overpowering. I'm going to turn individual volume down here. So just on the drums, I can adjust the volume to the tracks if it lets me. Alright, kind of cool, right? I'm going to try to adjust the rhythm. Right here I have the tuner, and I'm going to do project. I'm making a project. I can change the key. I don't want to do that. Remember, it's in C for this, and we're going to change it to F just so you can hear a stark difference. Okay, way higher, right? We're going to change it back to C, and you'll hear it much lower. The next thing I want you to pay attention to is tempo. I have it at 100. Maybe we want to move it up a little bit since we have drums and stuff. It's not going to be a funeral. No, let's do this. We'll knock it down to 63. Anybody ever been to a church service where it sounds like this? Okay, maybe, but probably not with drums. So we're going to crank it up. It was 100. We're going to stick it at about 150. We'll see what 150 sounds like. Okay. Now here's the deal. You know it's too fast if you couldn't sing the words in time with this. If you have a hard time spitting the words out, it's too fast. You probably don't want it much faster than that, and it'll depend on your song. Let's knock it down a few notches and see how it sounds. Maybe compromise between the 100 and 150. And not too bad, right? So I use classic acoustic and slap bass. Now I can always go track, new track, and if you want to get super carried away, which go for it, maybe I have slapped electric bass, acoustic, and maybe I want a second bass. So I'm going to highlight this bass line, Command C to copy, click on my next track, and Command V to paste. Now I have a grand piano doing a bass line or doing the harmony. Actually doesn't sound too bad. Let's do track, new track again, and maybe we can get a full-blown band going here instead of just 2 lines. Now we only have 2 different lines, but different instruments playing it. So classic acoustic, and this is my melody. I'm going to paste that down into the bottom track, and another grand piano. Maybe we want a horn. I don't know. We've got to find something that sounds good together, and I'm not imagining this will, but let's try it. Okay, horns are overpowering. Let's turn them down a little bit. And as it plays, you can mess with the volume too, which is kind of cool. Okay, in my opinion, that sounds a little bit too much like a computer generated it. So you can go through all of these. They have an unbelievable amount. Now the cool thing is, not only do they have the guitars that are listed here, but if I click on one like Clean Electric, I can click Edit and get other choices also. And not all of them are listed earlier, which is kind of cool. Let's try this, see how we sound. Let's just do the headphone set and listen to that individually, see what we can listen for. Alright, maybe. We'll listen again. Again, I think it sounds too much like computer generated, so we're going to delete that track and listen one more time. I think this sounded good. I want you to play with it for a while. Find the right tempo, find the right mix, especially drums. I went through before and found a drum that I liked, so I didn't waste your time. But find the right drums, find the right instruments, and maybe you don't drums at all, and maybe you want horns. If you do a song like Thy Strong Word or something like that, maybe you want some horns to blast it, and that could be cool. So here's what I have. Okay, I don't hear my harmony at all. Go track, new track, software instrument, and I'm going to make this a slapped bass, guitar, nope, bass, slap bass, and I'm going to drag this down because I think it will let me adjust now. There, now it'll let me adjust. I don't know why it didn't here. Maybe it was because it was the original track, so we're going to delete that track. We're going to crank that bass up, put the piano down a little bit. Alright, I think that sounds pretty good. So that is one verse. So I'm going to highlight all 4 verses now. Command C to copy, and then I'm going to drop it in. Command V paste. We'll see how it sounds going from one to the next. Do we have time to start the next verse? Pretty smooth transition. I'm going to highlight both. Copy and paste, and go to the end. If it will let me, and paste. Now I have enough for 4 verses. I don't know how many verses are in this baby, so I need to go online and look up my lyrics now. So if we went back, and this is the tune, here's the text title, first line. Let's go to the text. It's gonna let me. First line. Here are my lyrics then. There are 4 verses. Perfect. Okay, so we need to add in a title. If you just start it here and hit play, it starts pretty abruptly. So we want to kind of ease into it, let everybody know, hey, the song's about to start. So we go to the end and try to find just the right spot where to start it. That'd make a nice intro. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here and highlight, and we're going to split all these clips right at that spot. Split, split, split. Command T is split. With the loops it might make it disappear, so we're just going to drag it back out and end right where I split it. Highlight those 4, hit Command C to copy, and then I'll hit Command A, highlight all and slide it over, and I'm not sure how many measures. Okay, it looks like about 5 measures. So I'm going to highlight, actually I'm going to highlight the starting point and cut that back out. And highlight all, Command A, drag it over to 5 measures, put my mouse back at the beginning, Command paste. So now I have this nice intro. Alright, lovely. So it goes in nicely. So now I want to turn down the volume at the very beginning. I hit that down arrow, and then these little balls allow you to change the volume at this precise place. So I'm going to turn it down quite a bit, and we're going to do that for every single track. Turn it down, click a ball, and that way it maintains that volume after that point, but before that point I'm going to drop it way down. Where you see the sharp increases, well, the volume's going to sharply increase. This line shows you the volume going up and down. Hit the down arrow again, and I'm going to set it down, and we'll see how it sounds here in just a second. Alright. Okay, so you get the idea that it's saying, hey, the song is about to begin. Um, I think the contrast is a little too stark, so I'm going to increase the volume just a tiny bit. And this is something you're going to have to play with a little bit. It's not going to be perfect the first time, and that's why I keep showing you my examples where I mess up a little bit and I can improve it. I want these to be good, not just okay. I'm going to have the drum start with a big ch, and that way we know, here we go. Okay, increase just a little bit, more subtle change, put it back to the beginning. Okay. Share, send song to iTunes, and I'll type it in, click share. I've now created a song that we can sing in chapel. Pretty sweet, right? But we don't have the lyrics. So we'll do the lyrics in just a second. So I have the music part done. The next thing I'm going to do is get the text. So back here, I'm going to go into PowerPoint and just go with the pretty plain background for now. And want to make sure that I set the slide size to be widescreen so it fits the screens in the church. And then I'm just going to be copying and pasting. Go in and copy the first verse, paste it in. If you have a text box, it's not going to work, so you have to paste outside of a text box. And then get it so it's not obnoxiously large, but that it's taking up most of the space. Make sure you don't have a hanging word, like here I have cross as a hanging word. I'll drag it over, but don't make it so large that you have hanging words. This is about as big as I can comfortably get it. This is probably too big. Drop it down a little bit. So no hanging words. Center the text. And then we want to make it look good too. And so I'm going to highlight, go to paragraph, and since there are only 4 lines in this one, I could probably go to 1.5 spacing to look okay. Otherwise I'd go to exactly and put in exactly, nope, not multiple, exactly the size that I want. In this case I'd probably go with about 65 or so. That looks good. Okay, so then I'm going to duplicate and verse 2, copy, back to PowerPoint, paste. Doesn't let me do it in a text box. But I do know that I'm going to make this size 40 for my text. Drag it out, drag it over, and center my text. Change my 2-finger click, change my paragraph so that my line spacing is exactly, I don't remember what I said, about 65 or so. And new slide, third verse, copy and paste, 2-finger click and paste, highlight, center. I was at 42, 40 I think. Text size, and going to stretch it out. This one's a little larger, so I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit. Set my paragraph to exactly 65. Looks like it jumps a little bit. We're going to scoot it down so it matches up with the top one. This one jumps up quite a bit. Scoot it down so it's about the same height. And last one, new slide. Delete my text boxes and paste in my last verse. Up to 40, center, drag it out, drag it over, and again this one's a little bit larger, so we're going to shrink it down about 38. set my paragraph to be exactly 65. Okay, so this part is pretty much done. So what I'm going to do now is on the first verse, I'm going to go to Command C to copy. I click on the tile, Command C, Command Space, and I'm going to bring up Preview and File New from Clipboard. And that way it brings it in full high definition quality. I'm going to go to File Export, export it as a JPEG, and move it up to the best quality. Label it whatever you want so you can find it in the desktop, hit Save. And I'm going to go to the second slide now. I'm going to click on the tile over here on the side, Command C, Command Space, and go to Preview, and File New from Clipboard. And I now have number 2. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to go to Export. We're going to export it as a JPEG, which is a picture file, and I want it in best quality. And this is WC2, save. And then just don't save, I already saved it once. Click on the tile on the side, Command C to copy, Command Space, get into my preview screen, File New from Clipboard, and File Export. And we're going to be going as a JPEG full quality up on best. And this is Wonderous Cross -3, just so I remember the order. And don't save, I already saved it. Click on 4, Command C to copy, Command Space, preview, File New from Clipboard, and File Export, and WC-4, save the desktop. Oops. File Export, and we're going to save it as a JPEG with best quality, and this is WC-4. Don't save, I already saved it once. Okay, so last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to X out of PowerPoint and I'm going to go into iMovie. I'm going to bring in my slides and I'm going to highlight 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to drag them in. They may not be in the right order. I can change them after they're in. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Highlight them, crop, and I'm going to turn off Ken Burns. I'm just going to go fit. And now I'm going to bring in my song from iTunes. iTunes. Just going to pull it up, and I'm just going to drag my song down here. So now that it's all in, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a title slide. So we'll go into titles, and we'll drag in one that's pretty generic, and scoot the music over then, and add in our title. And make sure that that goes till the end of the intro. Okay, so it goes to right about here, so it's not near long enough. It needs to be about 6 seconds long. I can just drag that out. Now, people are also going to have time to read the first word. They can't just say the first word. They need that a little bit of time. So we're going to add a transition that will give them just a little bit more time. So we're going to back this up a little bit so they have time to process the word right before it comes in. So we're going to cross blur, maybe cross dissolve, something like that. Maybe even a tiny bit more time yet, just because I want to make sure they have time to read it. I think I like that. So I'm going to highlight these pictures that I imported, go to the crop, and we're going to fit, turn Ken Burns off. So now it's not zooming in and zooming out. Okay, so we're starting this right at 6 seconds, and then we want to end it at the end of the first verse. Looks like it's about here. So there's the end of my first verse right at 36 seconds. So I'm going to drag that out to right about the end of the first verse. Okay, right there's the beginning of my second verse. So I'm going to drag this over. Okay, so This is about 30 seconds. It's 29.3 seconds. So this one's probably going to be about that. I'm going to click on the I and put in 29 seconds and just see where that gets us. So it starts a little bit before the first word, so people again have time to read that first word before they have to sing it. Okay, good transitions. Then we're going to look at the end of this one. We can maybe use about another half second here if we want to be picky. So we're going to put in 29.5 because we want this to be good. Let's see how it looks. Looks good. Okay, we're going to make this one also about 29.5. If it worked for the last one, it ought to work about for this one. Be just about right. And I see they're out of order now. That's okay. We'll change the order. This is verse 4, this is verse 3, and this is verse 2. So I'm going to drag the order, change that up. If it happens to me, might happen to you too. We wanted this one to be 29.5 though. Alright, check this again. Looks good. Check this one. Okay, look at the end. And then we're also going to fade this out just a little bit so it sounds like it's getting quieter since it's the end of the song. Alright, and then we're good. We're going to go to File, and we're going to Share, and we're going to go to Share File, and I'm just going to name this the name of the song, and I'm going to put it by my name. I want this in 720p, so it's in high definition when it's on the big screen, and hit Next. And then I will have you hand this baby in. It'll be a big file, but we'll try to drag and drop it into the Google Classroom and see if that works. Very good.